Hey folks, Gary here. Hey, I hope you're having an awesome Thursday. It looks like it's going to be pretty cool outside. It is pretty cool outside. It's minus 30, so that's cool. But it's nice and bright, so that's good. Hey, we've been reading a lot about Nicodemus and Jesus and the conversation that they had. This is back in John chapter 3. But then we looked at John chapter 7, and we see, okay, some of what Jesus said has stuck with Nicodemus, and he's kind of running interference for Jesus, although secretly doing it. Well, now we're going to flip over to chapter 19 of John, and Nicodemus makes another appearance. So let's just read this. This is after Jesus has been crucified. So Jesus has been crucified on the cross. He's died on the cross, and this is what took place afterwards. So we're looking at chapter 19, and I believe it's verse 38 on down. Let's see what it has to say. Joseph from Arimathea, I think that's the way you pronounce it, was one of Jesus' disciples. He had kept it secret, though, so he wasn't out telling everybody about it because he was afraid of the Jewish leaders. Actually, I think he might have been one of the Jewish leaders as well. So he was kind of doing it undercover a little bit. He's keeping it secret. I know it doesn't sound good and all that kind of stuff, but we're not in this situation, so we don't know what he was facing. But obviously, you should be telling people about Jesus if you believe in Jesus, but we'll just continue on here. Again, we don't know a situation, hard to judge it. He was afraid of the Jewish leaders. But now he asked Pilate to let him have Jesus' body. That's a pretty bold move, right? Obviously, everybody's going to know. He asked Pilate if he could have Jesus' body. Pilate gave him permission, and Joseph took it down from the cross. That's not a small deal. That's a pretty big deal. So he took Jesus' body down from the cross. Nicodemus also came with about 75 pounds of spice made of myrrh and aloes. So Nicodemus shows up, and this is incredibly generous. This is 75 pounds of spice to be used to embalm Jesus with. Like, that's no small amount by any means. This was the same Nicodemus who had visited Jesus one night. The two men wrapped, just the page here, the body in linen cloth together with the spice, which was how the Jewish people buried their dead. In the place where Jesus had been nailed to the cross, there was a garden with a tomb that had never been used. The tomb was nearby, and since it was time to prepare for the Sabbath, they were in a hurry to put Jesus' body there. So a lot of things going on here. One of the things to keep in mind is this. People might have written off Nicodemus. He had that visit with Jesus and it didn't seem like anything happened. Well, obviously something did happen, and Nicodemus was following Jesus. So we can't write him off by any means. You never know how the story's going to end. And although Joseph and Nicodemus might have kept their faith secret, which again, that's questionable, but we don't know the situation they were in. They're the ones that are there when Jesus died. The disciples are gone. They're scattered. The ones that should have been with him are not there. And the two that you would question their faith, they are there. And at their own personal expense, because this would have made them targets. At their own personal expense, they took care of the body of Christ when it was on the cross. They prepared it for what was going to be the resurrection. They didn't know that, but they prepared it for that. You just never know what's going on.